Hello and welcome to Talking Games match preview of Everton against West Ham United. Gonzo, may you, as always, kick it off with your thoughts on Everton, please.
Yeah, it's been quite a transformation, really. They went from being close to relegation, sort of constantly under the threat of FFP, PSR, that type of thing, points deductions. They almost got taken over by, I think it was 777 partners. Numerous sevens, which I think would have been a bad thing. I think that collapsed. And then they eventually got a takeover. Probably the takeover benefited from Mashiri's work with the stadium, where sort of most of that be done. And so the takeover, I think, happened at the right time, but they were able to maybe sort out the things that weren't right, because obviously Mashiri did a lot wrong as well. And then they find themselves where they are now. They rehire David Moyes, they get rid of Sean Dyche, and now it's incredible. What a turnaround from a club very much on a downward spiral to now you look at them and they're a club on the up now.
Yeah, I completely agree. Such a short space of time as well. It was only just 2-3 seasons ago. They were like a nightmare club, knocking on that door to the championship, and it just felt like they were going from manager to manager, and it was like a short-term manager to keep us up. Then it's going to go stale. Then we'll get the next one in, keep us up. Then it's going to go stale. The ownership went on for quite a while as well. It was ages. It was like new owners. There's lots of people linked to taking over Everton. Like you said, lots went close, but never happened for whatever reason. Got done for PSR. It was just a badly run club. And then suddenly, bang, new owners, the right manager, new stadium, good transfer window. You don't even consider them to be candidates for relegation anymore. Yet this time last year you did, because Dyche was there, and it was like, Everton, they should be okay, but they'll be down the bottom somewhere. Now, I'm not so sure. They're definitely a club that's, like you said, on the up, looking up rather than looking over their shoulder. And they've gone from living a nightmare to being able to dream a little bit as to what could happen at that football club. In regards to the league, where do you see them finishing up? Do they have an outside chance of European football, as in, finishing 7th or 8th and maybe getting in that way?
It's funny you say, yeah, if it goes down to 8th, I think they do. I think 8th or 9th is where they'll finish. But that's good. You know what I mean? That's good. You've got other sort of things that you look at. Villa are down probably where they shouldn't be at the moment. But then again, obviously you had that last season with Manchester United and Tottenham down lower than they ordinarily might be. That being said, it is becoming the norm actually for maybe Man United. So maybe we need to stop saying that stuff that Man United and talking about them as a big club, certainly, but maybe not a top 6, 7 club. I think we have to stop talking about them as that now. So I think, some depends on that. But as you look at the other teams that are up and around them and above them, let's say, so Bournemouth, you think, well, can they sustain that? Well, they've got such a good manager, but they've sold loads of players and he, good players as well, but they seem to be able to crack on and carry on. And then you're looking at Crystal Palace and thinking, well, they've sold players as well, and they've got European commitments as well. And obviously Everton don't. So I think they'll continue to remain in games. I think they'll give anybody a game. I think they were certainly in the 2-1 Liverpool, I think, wasn't it? Was that right? They were certainly in that game. And they contested it, and I think they'll continue it because Moyes has built a team with a bit of balance. He's got lots of centre backs across the back four and stuff like that. It's going to be hard to beat, hard to break down. They're just going to continue to pick up results. They really will. They'll lose games, of course, but I always think they'll be in them. I don't think we'll see like like at the end of David Moyes with us, he was, his teams were shipping 5 and 6 goals and stuff like that. I don't think you'll see that. They seem better than that. He's sort of been reinvigorated, hasn't he? Really. So yeah, I think they'll always be. It's like what Potter said last season. Potter was making a big play of the fact that we're in games. Even when we were losing, we're in games. Only one goal.
Competitive. That was the word.
That was it. And that's what I actually think. I was going to call them Newcastle. That's what I think Everton will be, certainly.
Yeah, I think they'll be in the top half of the Premier League, and some teams have started poorly, like Aston Villa, like Brighton, like Nottingham Forest. And you think, well, if they continue to just be below par, it opens up the door a little bit for other teams like Bournemouth, like Everton, like Crystal Palace, and say, well, go on then. Because we've seen it numerous times over the years where clubs will take that opportunity. Aston Villa have done it. We've done it where you go, oh, there's a spot there. We're having that. And a team just goes on, has a good season. And the advantage is for Everton is that 9 Premier League teams are playing European football this season. They are not one of them. So they do have that. You need a little bit of luck along the way. You need to, avoid injuries and keep your best players fit. But I think they've had a good transfer window. I think Dewsbury Hall's a good signing. Still trying to work out Barry, the striker that they've spent money on. He keeps flirting between Barry and Beto and keeps going between the two. And there's quite a few subscribers wouldn't have minded Barry at West Ham. So I've sort of been wanting to be impressed by him. But sometimes I watch Everton, he's on the bench. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not. Then he comes on, he's not really in the game or anything. So I'm still evaluating him a little bit. But I expect him to be top half, outside chance of European football. But one thing some Everton fans had a complaint about during the week, Gonzo, is that the Carabao Cup came round and they were away to Wolves. They played the team that put us out. And he made 7 changes, David Moyes, and he put out what you would consider to be a heavily rotated side. And I'm just using Everton fans' opinions here. I did not watch the game. But Everton fans suggested that they were terrible in the first half, brought on the main players for the second half, but the game was gone and they got put out. And I feel like there's a lot of Everton fans feel like it was a missed opportunity for the reasons we've just said, which is no relegation battle, might get European football, good team, settled team, new stadium. And I think there was a lot of Everton fans saying, hang on a minute, we could have a pop at this cup. We should be going for this Carabao Cup. But it felt maybe that Moyes just dismissed it a little bit. Do you agree with them, or do you think Moyes perhaps does have one eye on that outside chance of European football, and therefore he's just wanting to focus on the league?
Well, I agree with them, but I wouldn't worry about it for them. And it's, listen, they have Moyes more than we've had Moyes, so they know it's not for me to tell Everton fans what David Moyes is like. But what I would say is he did exactly that with us, and ironically, against Everton. We went up there. He fielded. He put all our best players on the bench. Actually, he didn't even use them. I think they put 5 past us. Calvert-Lewin scored. He might have even scored a hat trick or something on that day, and that was before we were. That was before we got good. Before we had a good spell and COVID and Europe and all the rest of it. So it very much felt in that first season he was willing to throw the cups in that sense. I'm thinking, hold on, what have we got here? I don't want this. I'm as a West Ham fan, you're dreaming of one day winning a trophy. And all I could say is, if it makes the Everton fans feel any better, after that first season, he stopped doing that. He obviously got the squad that he wanted. Then he took everything seriously. Europe, cup competitions. So maybe that's just it. I think he is a long. The irony is there's a lot of other managers who get labelled with being project managers, and I think it's like a cool label to have. Moyes doesn't get labelled as a project manager. He gets labelled as Dither Dave. I think they might both be the same things. Just one of them gets a friendly name and one of them gets a bad name. He's going to take a little bit of time to get into his rhythm. I wouldn't worry, but I do understand it. It's horrible. We've been there when David Moyes has thrown a cup competition, and the game was so far gone against Everton, he didn't even bother to bring the good players off the bench. Do you remember? They all just sat there. They all sat there. So I understand, but I don't think that'll be something that continues long term. I think, they do have a chance of getting into Europe, and then all I would say is if they do that through the league, I wouldn't worry about that. He'll play. You'll start thinking, hold on, our squad ain't big enough. Crikey, he's playing. Why is he playing everyone on a Thursday and a Sunday? Why is he doing this? You'll have a different set of worries then, which would be very, very nice worries to have.
Yeah, I completely understand Everton's frustrations. I think there was a lot of Everton fans suggesting this is why we got a bit fed up with you the first time you were here, because we were waiting for a cup and you didn't really take them serious. But ultimately, that's the nature of the beast of being in the Premier League, that the Premier League will always be priority. But if we can agree that Everton won't be in a relegation battle this season, I think it gives a little bit of substance to the claims of, well, hang on a minute, this is a season we should be taking it seriously. But I do just wonder, maybe he's just looking at the Premier League thinking there's a chance here. There is a chance. And he might find it, and this is going to sound a little bit wild, he might find it easier to finish 7th than to win the Carabao Cup. Because he might be looking at Carabao Cup and going, oh, we're probably going to come up against Arsenal, Newcastle, Man City in the quarterfinal and semi-final, or that the likelihood of us winning it pretty slim. But looking at the league table, we've got a chance of finishing 6th or 7th and getting into maybe the Conference League, and then he'll go on and win it again. That's the one thing I will say. He did deliver us a trophy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So he can point to that now and go, I've done it.
Yeah,
I've proven that I can win a trophy. Stick with me, wait, be patient, and I'll bring something to Bramley Moor. We'll wait and see. Final question, as always. I think there's one player in particular we're both going to purr over, but players you admire from Everton, please.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll obviously Grealish has just started so well, and he made our own chairman look very, very silly because we were linked with him on loan, and our chairman had said something along the lines of
he was 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Exactly that. And the irony, so that's why we weren't going to sign him. Now, the irony is, he'd also said we, like, I don't know, 6 months ago or whatever, we weren't going to sign Callum Wilson because he was too injury prone. So there you go. Pick the bones out of that one.
He also said Charlie Austin has no knees, and he went and whacked in a brace against us.
That's true. That's true. But he might be. Listen, we only see him sat behind a desk now, so maybe he does have no knees. We can never tell. So Grealish have been brilliant. I thought this is not a David Moyes player. I mean, I heard the links. I thought, no way will he sign Grealish. Well, there you go. Shows how much I know. He signed him and he's playing really, really well. And even when I first heard the deal, which was a loan with a £50 million obligation to buy, even I thought, 50 million? There's no way. Now I'm thinking, well, they'd sort of be silly not to, really. Because he's made a real impact and he's given them, some really nice balance on the left-hand side. I like Ndai. Is that his name? Ndai?
Yeah,
I think he's a good player. And I think you were right. I think old Dewsbury Hall in the middle. Yeah, look, he's looked like a good signing, doesn't he? With someone else we were linked with as well. So they've got some decent players there and a very, very strong defence as well. I should say that. We're gonna some giants in defence who's surely licking their lips at playing against getting some corners against us, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I was the opposite of you. I thought Grealish to Everton was just destined to be a success because it had that Lingard feel about it. And I appreciate in between Lingard and Grealish, there's a Calvin Phillips there as well. Another player gone to a big club, hasn't quite worked out, needs a cuddle, needs to get back to his best. And I think some of them will work and some of them won't. And it's one of those, I think if the player mentally is okay, it'll be a success. And I think Lingard turned up with the right attitude, bought into West Ham pretty quickly. And I think Grealish has done that at Everton. He's gone there. He's given the fans a reason to buy into him, to love him. And I think they do love him already. I think there's just a massive admiration for Grealish, and he thrives off that. He'll be able to hear the fans when he gets the ball, that gasp, that excitement. You'll detect the fans just thinking, go on then, go and do something. And even as a neutral, when I've been watching Everton this season, I'm thinking, get the ball through. I want to see Jack Grealish on the ball. Get the ball out to Grealish, because when he's at his best, he is fantastic. The way he just travels down that side with him. As a fullback, he must be a nightmare to play against. I'm a big fan of Jack Grealish. I've got a bit of a soft spot for him as well. I don't mind admitting that. So I'm pleased to see him enjoying his football again. And if they can keep him fit and keep him, I say firing, he hasn't scored yet, but he's racking up the assists and creating the chances, they'll do all right. Ndai as well. I was a bit worried when Grealish went there. I thought, because Ndai played on the left. I thought, is he going to be as good on the right? And when I spoke about it in a different video, a couple of Everton fans said, he plays there for his country. He actually plays on the right side, which I didn't know. He's doing all right over on that side for Everton as well. Pickford, I still think, is one of the best goalkeepers in the league. He just doesn't get enough credit for it. And Tarkowski's Mr. Consistent, Mr. Reliable at the back, actually. And a lot of good players at Everton. A couple of weak spots, though, in their full-back areas. I'm surprised they didn't sign a right-back during the transfer window. That was the only thing I thought, I'm not sure about Coleman or Patterson or O'Brien playing there. But Can't have everything, I suppose. Anyway, anything you'd like to add about Everton, or shall we move on to our team?
No, yeah, let's crack on, mate.
Would you like some team news?
Yes, please.
There's not loads of it. Thomas Souček is still suspended after his sending off against Spurs, and Wan-Bissaka should be back. Last week, Graham Potter said he'd be back last week in light training after his stomach issue. So for the preview, Gonzo, you can have anyone except Thomas Souček. He's the only one you're not allowed. Everyone else, I believe, is available. So let's start with your goalkeeper and defence. Tell me what you would like to see, not what you think Potter will do.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
Really?
For goalkeeper, yeah. Yeah, I'm half tempted to put Fabianski in there, actually.
Hang on a minute. You wanted Areola for the Palace game. I don't think he did anything wrong. Or do you think he did?
No, I just didn't. I didn't think he was
confident.
particularly convincing. No, but no one's giving me confidence. No, it's like, listen, it's not for me to get confidence. It's for the defence to get confidence. I don't know. I'm very unsure about it. I wouldn't put Hermansen in. I know that Areola or Fabianski. I could be convinced either way. Let's say Fabianski for the sake of this video. Despite what happened against Palace, I actually think Walker-Peters was one of the better players for us. I know you had the end bit where they saw maybe him and Mavropanos both fell over, but yeah, and I was very close to him. I was near the touchline, so I am also aware that he, particularly when you're so low down at pitch side on the front row, they do the player, the wingers and the fullbacks are going to shine. But I thought he looked decent. I don't think he's done anything. I don't think he's part of the problem at the moment, so I'd keep him in there. A centre back's different. I will play Mavropanos. Kilman. I want to do something. I just don't know what to do. I think I'd even be tempted to play Wan-Bissaka in there or something like that. I don't know, but he's very bad at marking the back post if you're playing a 2. So it's a real problem. I've not seen Igor play. I don't know. I wouldn't put him in there because I've not seen him play. There's something going on with Todibo. Nobody will convince me otherwise. There's something going on that's not injury based, and I even suspect that maybe that's even the case with Wan-Bissaka too. I just don't know. They're just hunches. It's the trouble when you're losing games and you're scratching your head. You start to get a little bit, you get a bit flat earth. You get a bit conspiratorial. Honestly, I think I may even have to play Mavropanos and Todibo at central defence. I think I might have to drop Kilman and play Juff at left back.
Yeah, it's to do what he wants for me, and you've touched on the 2 positions here as well. The goalkeeper, I don't know. None of the 3 say pick me, and I'm not that bothered. Hermansen, Areola, Fabianski, whatever. I don't think there's a right answer. And well, there is, but we'll only know that come the full-time whistle. Either keeper's done all right. But what I will say is I don't think Areola was bad against Crystal Palace. I don't blame him for either goal. He just didn't have a lot to do. He was largely untested. So I'm genuinely not that bothered who goes in goal. Kyle Walker-Peters keeps his spot for me, even if Wan-Bissaka's back. Tough luck. And while you've been out, Walker-Peters has come in and he's nicked your shirt, mate. I think he's been really good.
So have I, to be fair.
Yeah, you've nicked his shirt too. I think Mavropanos has been fantastic for one of the first names on the team sheet at the minute for me. So he goes in there. Juve continues at left back. Again, he's playing really, really well. Despite the team doing badly and us losing most games, some players are doing all right.
Yeah.
And despite conceding so many goals, it's our defenders that are doing all right. So something's not adding up here. In regards to the other centre-back next to Mavropanos, again, I don't really care. I don't really want to see Max Kilman. I don't want to see Igor. I know you've not seen him play. I have, albeit in a Brighton shirt, but I've seen enough of him in a Brighton shirt to not want to see him play in the Claret and Blue shirt. And Todibo, from what I've seen since he's joined, I'm not being impressed by at all, but quite the opposite, actually. I was quite hopeful when he arrived, and I think that's fair. If you're going to spend £36 million on a player, I think you're allowed as a fan to expect good performances and to be excited by the prospect of that player arriving. Just assuming, I think you're allowed to assume a player's good when a club spends that much money on a footballer.
Sure.
You're right. So I'm not going to apologise for assuming he'd be a good player, but he's been terrible. I'm not really arsed who goes next to Mavropanos because I don't think it's going to make too much difference. I think they will be an issue. For the sake of the video, I'll go with Areola and goal and Max Kilman at centre back, just because it's process of elimination, really. I don't really like it. Moving into midfield now, here's what I will say. The next 6, I know exactly who I want.
Yeah.
Moving into midfield, what you got?
I've got Potts, I've got Fernandez, and I've got Paqueta as
It has to be.
your
It
middle
has to
three,
be,
if you
doesn't
like.
it?
Yeah.
It absolutely has to be. It cannot be James Ward-Prowse.
No.
It will be James Ward-Prowse. It should not be James Ward-Prowse. It can't be Thomas Souček. He's suspended. Magassa, listen, I will. And I know what people are going to be saying. Igor's not even played. Give him a chance. If he starts, I hope he performs well. Right? I just assume anyone that says I don't want to see that guy. There's lots of people that don't want to see Hermansen go. I just assume if Hermansen starts, those people that don't want to see Hermansen go want him to play well.
Of course,
I will always assume that. In midfield with Magassa, I always think when you bring in a player from abroad, I'm prepared to give them a season. I'll judge him next season. Give them the year to settle in, get used to the Premier League, get used to London, get used to England, their teammates, whatever, especially such a young player as well. But it doesn't mean you can't judge them on what you've seen so far. You'd be foolish not to. So he came on against Spurs. I thought he looked all right. I thought there were some nice touches. I thought he looked quite good. When he came on against Palace, and my word, I thought he looked terrible. So it's lessened my desire to want to see him from the start for this one. So that leaves Freddie Potts. So I think it's time to give him a chance, really.
Yeah, I would take any of that midfield that started for the under-21s over Ward-Prowse or Magassa for this game. Let's just make that absolutely clear. And I'm talking about Potts, Viren, or Kante. I'll take any one of them. But I don't. Yes, and just to echo what you said about Magassa, he's going to need to come in. He's going to need to settle. Ward-Prowse, I just don't know what Potter's thinking. Really, as I've mentioned on numerous occasions, do you want to keep this job or not? I don't know what he's doing, and yeah, I mean, it's just it's baffling. It's baffling his continued selection of him.
Yeah, I think the other two were just as bad as him against Palace in midfield.
Against Palace, but not for such an elongated period of time.
Yeah. And the difference is, though, that's what you expect from James Ward-Prowse. It's not what you expect from Fernandez or Paqueta. You know, if I said to you, is Ward-Prowse going to be better on Monday? You'd go, probably not. But if I said, is Fernandez and Paqueta going to be better on Monday? You'd say, possibly. I bloody hope so, because if they are, we might win the game. So Fernandez and Paqueta alongside Potts. On the right,
Bowen, of course. On the left, Somerville. And up front, Marshall.
You're sticking with the Kyler Marshall shout?
No, I don't even think it's close. I wouldn't even consider the others actually at the moment. And I actually think he'd be bonkers too as well.
I completely agree. For the sort of third week in a row, almost we'll sit here and say Marshall plays. Wilson was just so slow against Crystal Palace, so slow. That chance he had, you've got to be taking them. Even if you don't score it, you've got to be getting your shot off. As a striker, he didn't. His first touch was a bit poor, and it was just like watching someone in slow motion. And folk could come on, and all he did was foul people. And there was nothing to say, oh, maybe we should start him the next game. But when you watch under 21s, you're looking at him thinking he's too good for that. Marshall is too good for that team. At some point, the best under 21s become just too good for that level. And I think Marshall is in there. You can tell he's had a year on loan and played senior football. He's just... He deserves a chance. He won't get it. He's not going to get it. I know people will be saying, oh, Potter's never going to do all this. Well, we're not saying they will. That's not the discussion here. But yeah, get Callum Marshall up front and only have one of those strikers on the bench. I wouldn't have both of them. I think we've got such a big squad now. I think we need to have a balanced bench. And when I seen the bench against Palace and you had two strikers, it was a bit like, well, you're never going to bring... against Spurs, Wilson and Fulker were on the bench. It was like, what's the point in this? You're never going to bring them both on. And I have no desire to see them both on the pitch at the same time either. So put one of them on the bench and just leave the other one out. It's a big call, You just leave the other one out and say, sorry, I'm having one striker on there with Earthy and Guillermo, so my bench is a bit more balanced than it has been, and that is that. Marshall up front, give him a chance, because if you play Fulkrug, his whole game is about physicality. Well, we're coming up against Everton. Those centre-backs want to play against strikers like that. They don't want a striker running in behind them. They want a striker that's going to back into them and try and receive the ball at their chest or at their feet. And that's what Wilson was doing against Crystal Palace, and they found it easy enough as well. We're coming up against an Everton centre-back pairing that would rather play against Fulkrug and Wilson and catch someone like Callum. I'm not saying Marshall is in, oh, yeah, that young lad from the 21 is going to strike fear into him. I'm talking about the style of striker. They would much rather play against the physicality ones, I think, than what Marshall may provide. So, anyway, there you go. Myself and Gonzo, we agree, bar the centre-back. You went with Todibo. I went with Kilman, but 6.5 dozen and all that.
Yeah.
Do you want to know a surprising stat ahead of the game?
I don't think so, but you better tell us. Yeah.
Well, you don't want to. I
Well, it's going to be ghastly and nasty.
It's not actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Graham Potter has faced David Moyes 8 times, and he's unbeaten. 1-2, drawn 6.
Right.
So he's unbeaten against Moyes. Also, saying that, he had a really good record against Thomas Frank as well, and we know how that went. Big game for the gaffer.
Yeah, I mean, he's there. Well, look, he's in the position he's in because of his own tactical ineptitude and because he keeps selecting the wrong players and he makes the wrong substitutions. So let's get that absolutely right. First of all, he is. It's his own fault that he is there. I also, as I say, I'm seeing precious little from him that suggests he even wants to keep his job because he just changes very, very little. Or, just as we say, just, he's rearranging the chairs on the Titanic. He's moving things around on the margins that are not going to alter anything at all. I also look at him and I think he's making players worse all the time. And he is not the man you're going to bring in. I'd still think the best we have seen this team play under Potter was his first game at the first half against Aston Villa in the FA Cup. And I think that's because Lopetegui just was rushing forward a lot. If you remember, just before Lopetegui got sacked, we started to break records for most chances created and stuff like that. And I think there was a game against Bournemouth, there was a game against Man City, and we were just going forward. And the defence was absolutely shocking. I think Potter hadn't actually had time to implement his philosophy, which I think is awful. But I think he was able to say, right, can we just... I think he had half a training session. He was able to sort out the back and he wasn't able to impact. And he changed the shapes. Changed the shape quite a lot, not just slightly. But he hadn't cut the adventure of the players that wanted to go forward. So we actually looked quite swashbuckling and we looked all right at the back. And actually, if I remember correctly in that game, I think they got a bit lucky because Ross Barkley got injured. And then Onana came on and he basically took over the game, if I remember that rightly.
They also got a corner that wasn't a corner.
Right. Yes, indeed. And now the irony is that Onana barely plays at all anymore because he's always injured. So, I think we're on the bad end of that. But I think since then, we've just got progressively worse. And we had a point last season where our statistics people were reading out was we were creating least shots than anyone else in the Premier League. So our attack was the worst in the Premier League now, but what Potter did was he was keeping it competitive. Our defence was quite good. Well, now our defence is rubbish as well, and now we concede more corners than anyone else. So, it's basically all rotten now. So Potter's in this position because of himself, but he doesn't deserve to be. He should have been sacked before now. And the fault of that is with the board because they're doing whatever craziness they're doing at the moment we just lose these couple of games, then we'll get rid of him. It's absolute madness. I can't even remember what your question was.
There wasn't one really. It was just about Potter being under pressure, and you've sort of answered it to some extent. Are you satisfied with your answer to Potter being under pressure?
I think so, yeah.
I almost don't think he's under pressure anymore. I think it's gone. No one's angry. Everyone's just been taking the piss by putting his face on people.
They have.
Right. I think the mood towards Potter's changed. It's like, we know you're getting sacked. It's just when.
They just can't sing "You're Getting Sacked in the Morning" anymore, can they?
You're getting sacked in some morning.
Yes,
just don't know which one yet.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like he's under pressure anymore. This actually might be the game. He might feel a little bit without it. Because the thing is, there was a little bit of a puff piece done by Matt Law during the week, which was like, oh, some senior players still want Potter to stay. I mean, no one's buying that, but there's no anger towards it. And there's no like, oh, do one mouthpiece, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, oh, we don't even care because literally no one believes it. Like, no one's buying it. Like, do what you want. Do as much PR as you want. Everyone's just discussing who's replacing him. We've all agreed that he's going. It's just who's coming in. That's it. So I actually think he's off. He's got his press conference today. I'm not even bothered about what he's got to say about his job, about the team. I just want someone to say, "Have you seen all these memes, Graham?"
Yeah. You just want to. Yes, you want to see him stuck on Keir Starmer's body or something. Yes, that's all we're interested in. Yeah,
because there's no way the players haven't seen that, and there's no way Potter hasn't seen it. The newspapers have been running with it. It's on the Daily Mail about Potter's face going on places, so he's definitely seen it. So I don't think there's pressure on him any weirdly. I think this is actually the game where he might be able to relax a little bit. And if anything, I'm hoping that brings a little bit of adventure in his lineup. He might think, do you know what? I'm getting sacked. I might as well just do something. I might as well just change it, right? I might as well just do my Hail Mary and just see what happens. And that might be playing 4-4-2, or it might be playing Potts and Marshall in there. Almost in spite, going, you want academy players in the team? There you go. There's your academy players. Now what? We got beat. Now what are you going to do about it? Right? I don't know.
He'll do a Sam Allardyce.
Yeah. There's a bit of a different mood around this game, I think. Everyone's attention's on the board. I've seen hardly anything towards Potter. Hardly anything in the last week. It's just changed. It's just like it's the board's fault now. We know he's crap. We've established that a long time ago.
Yeah.
The only thing he wound me up about, we got beat by Palace. The only thing he did that pissed me off was the fact we conceded from into the corner. Because like, you sat there and said you've been working on it all week and you've done the same thing and got done by the same thing. And the same thing will happen again against Everton.
Yep.
They'll just have Michael Keane run into the back post and he'll head it. It's just going to be a different person. It's going to be the same thing. It's just going to be different. So, yeah, I just feel like the mood's changed a little bit towards this one. And it's almost like we've had to accept that he's going at some point, but what happens if he wins? That's going to be the interesting thing. That if we beat Everton, and it's like, well, what are you going to do now? Because
I know.
Now what? Anyway, I just want to take this. I've got two questions for you. Question number one: would you be able to or like to support Hammers Chat to help us continue creating content on YouTube for free? It's less than £1 a week. Would you pay less than £1 a week to support the channel? Question two: would you like to enter a prediction competition for every single West Ham game to be in with a chance of winning signed goodies? The signed prize is up for grabs for the Everton prediction competition. We've got a signed Paulo Di Canio photo, got a signed Paulo Di Canio captain's armband, and we've got a signed Paulo Di Canio football shirt.
We haven't signed it. Paolo did.
Paulo signed these items. If you would like to be in with a chance of the prediction competition, if the answer is yes to either of those questions or both, then you definitely need to go join up at our Patreon, patreon.com/HammersChat. It's from £3.60 per month. There's 3 tiers, but the £3.60 is the cheapest one, and you can enter the prediction competition at that level as well. And you will get additional video content in return for your pledge. It's quite simple. When people leave Patreon, the most common reason is, I don't watch that much on Patreon. I'm okay with the free stuff on YouTube. If it wasn't for Patreon, there would be no free stuff on YouTube. There might be some. It would be a hell of a lot less. 2 videos a week or something like that. Our new clear option, the option we've never wanted to do, is to take videos off YouTube and put it on Patreon and say, well, if you want that, you're going to have to join Patreon and less videos appear on YouTube. Since we started Patreon, we've managed to continue doing 1 video for free per day per channel on here. Now and again, we miss a day, right? Now and again, we miss a day. But it's few and far between. Less than 10 a year per channel. So 720, let's call it 720 free videos on YouTube across both channels every single year wouldn't be possible without patrons. It's as simple as that. So if you fancy supporting us, go to patreon.com/SamsChat, links in description and the pinned comments. And a massive thank you to anyone who's already a patron or anyone who gives it a go. Gonzo, are you feeling optimistic? How's your fruitiness for this match?
Oh, no. Yes, the very ungreengrocerish, to be fair. There's no fruitiness at all. Yeah, I can't see there's any way that we can win this game, apart from the only way is superstitious reasons, if you know what I mean, because it would just be typical West Ham to be lining up Potter's replacement, so he then goes and wins. And that's all it is. Actually, if we're actually looking at proper evidence, then no, there is no way we could win this. And particularly if they've got a giant at right back as well, which gives them another big geezer. Our big geezer, Thomas Souček, ain't playing. Souček scored. Did he score against Everton last season? And so I think have I got that right?
He did, but I'm trying to think if it was the volley or not.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, we're less one big geezer. They got more big geezers. Moyes has got his coaching team. He's got Alan Irvine next to him, which is really important. Tactical. He's got his tactical genius next to him as well. I just can't see it. I can't see it. I don't think we've got the spirit. I don't think we've got the tactics. As you say, in spite of what Matt Law wrote, and you know what, he may even be right. I mean, to be fair, he may have the support of the senior players, but in the majority, it's the senior players that have been letting Potter down. So
actually, he might have the support of James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, exactly. You might find that it's actually the support of the younger players that you're probably going to need in this one. I honestly, I can't see any way. I cannot see any way that we win this game. I'd even look at the centre forwards. I don't be surprised if you see Bowen up top in this one, by the way. Don't be surprised if you see Bowen as striker. I that would not surprise me in any way, shape, or form. And actually, you will see Wan-Bissaka back in the team, maybe, and Walker Peters in the team. Something weird might happen in this one, right? The teams we did earlier, what myself and Gio would do. I just can't see any way we can impact this game at all. No. So I'm not fruity.
Yeah, I'm not feeling too optimistic. I think there's a few grumblings around Everton at the minute because the game previous to the Liverpool game was against Aston Villa, I think, and Villa were pretty stinky and Everton didn't capitalise on that. So I think it's a bit of I've seen a phrase from an Everton fan which I thought was accurate, and I've already done my video with an Everton fan. I asked him, and the Everton fan said, if we don't beat West Ham, it goes from a really good start to a really average start to the season. I thought, I like that. And I asked the Everton fan. He said, yeah, I completely agree with that one because we did start well, but we don't beat you. It's sort of like we're sort of in the bottom half of the table, out the Carabao Cup, and it's not even October yet. And so I get what they're saying.
Yeah.
We are the best team to play. We are. While we have a little bit of a laugh about Graham Potter, the reality is he probably knows he's on his way out. He'd have to be really, really, really stupid to not know talks are happening with other managers. He will fully know that they are lining up his replacement. The atmosphere in the changing room must be a little bit weird because the players will see all these Potter things. You'd imagine they're probably sharing them privately. Hey, have you seen this one?
Of course they are.
It's probably a little bit of an interesting and strange dynamic for him at the minute on that training ground. They probably lost faith in him. It's probably, here we go again. And he's telling them what to do. At some point, you've got, when he's saying, we do this, we do that, you must think, what's the point? Like this, we've lost. We're just going to get beat, man. You don't know what you're like. Whatever you're trying to say, come on, do this, do this. There must be a part of them that thinks you're telling me the wrong thing here because it's not worked, right? So I'm not really paying too much attention to you. I think everything that Everton need to win this game is there. Everything that West Ham need to lose this game is there. So I find it difficult. The only thing that makes me think we might win is what you said is we win and the board go, oh,
yeah.
Now what? And I know what'll happen. They'll leak it. That's why we stuck with Graham Potter, blah, 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 blah. They'll take praise. They'll take the credit for not hiring his replacement despite interviewing people to replace him. So, no, I'm not feeling too optimistic. I think corners are going to be a big issue. I think we're going to concede again from another set piece. can I get your final score prediction, please, and any final words from yourself, Gonzo?
Yeah, just but the benefit is they can't ruin the weekend because we're playing on Monday. So enjoy yourselves this weekend. I just can't see any way forward. It's just very, very depressing at the moment. I think you're absolutely right. We're the perfect team to play for Everton if the fans are feeling like that. And I think they're on 7 points. They win here, that gives them 10. They're back up within 3 points of the Champions League places or whatever. So yeah, it could pivot on that. For us, the league looks bleak, really, really bleak viewing. And I'm just annoyed that the West Ham board have almost chosen to surrender. The West Ham board have already made up their mind that Graham Potter is not the man for the job. And if I was Potter, I'd just say this. I think he's almost gone past that. You talk about all these memes and everything, and I think when you talk about pressure on this game, I think he probably was really, really suffering. I just wonder if now we're getting to the point where actually he'll be relieved. This man had got a £40 million payoff from Chelsea. He is a rich, rich man with a house down by the seaside. And I just wonder if actually he's thinking, actually, I would quite look forward to that now. I would quite look forward to just not having the pressure of this Premier League job at the moment and going and spending some time with the family and spending some of my money. I can understand the allure of that. I think they'll win. I think they'll win 3-0.
Ooh, I went 2. I'm going to say 1-0 Everton. And this is a sad thing. If we had sacked Potter and for 2 weeks promoted Mark Robson and said, you're in charge of the Everton Arsenal game, I think we'd have a chance. I'd sit here and think, do you know what? The attitude of the players are going to be spot on. They're going to go out there, sleeves rolled up. They're going to give everything. They're going to play with heart. They're going to put in a performance. Maybe Mark Robson isn't tactically at the level of a Premier League manager. Maybe he doesn't have the experience of a Premier League manager. But I bet you that dressing room will get the most motivational and inspiring speech just before kickoff that they've had in a long, long time. He will know how to push their buttons as footballers and as West Ham players in particular. Anyone that sort of loves West Ham, like Jared Bowen, he would know how to get them fired up for this game. We've got the opposite. We're going to have a changing room where the manager is trying to do a rousing speech and they're all going to sit there going, is that really Graham Potter's face or is this just another meme? What's going on here? They will have switched off from Graham Potter. They won't be buying into anything he's got to sell. I struggle to see us putting in a performance. I hope we do. I hope on Monday night we're celebrating 3 points, and then I'll worry about the impact, as in the indecisive that the board are now going to come under. They're going to think, oh, do we sack him? Do we not sack him? I think this is going to sound really harsh, but I think the perfect week for me next week would be we beat Everton and we sack him anyway. It's a good win, but we're still not confident. Yeah, you are still the wrong man. Good match, good win. Thank you very much. Here's your £3-4 million. Get yourself down to Brighton arcades and buy your family an ice cream. We're moving on to the next one. That would be the ideal week. Unfortunately, we don't live in an ideal world. Everton 1, West Ham 0. Thank you very much for joining us. If you enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it by clicking the thumbs up. And also, if you fancy supporting the channel to allow us to continue creating content for free here on YouTube, then please consider heading over to patreon.com/HammersChat. Links in the description below, links in pinned comments. All support is much appreciated and makes a massive difference. So thank you very much, myself and Gonzo. Catch you in a bit.